以上です。先生。
Hello everyone, it's Truds here, and today we've got another Destiny 2 build video. Today we've got not one, not two, but three top tier builds for you that will knock everything out in one punch. We are going to start by taking a look at the new artifact mod Solar Plexus and how you can maximise the impact of this extremely powerful mod into a highly effective build. We are then going to look at how you can use this across all three classes and how this slightly changes its overall effectiveness with certain pieces of exotic armour. Timestamps will be in the description below for easy access to the different classes variations of this build. These builds will set you in good stead for all endgame content, as there are a number of anti-champion mods built into them too. If you do go on to like the video and find it helpful, then a rating down below is always greatly appreciated. And whilst you're there, please hit subscribe to stay up to date with the latest builds. So let's take a look at the first mod and what it does. Solar Plexus is a class item specific mod and it costs 6 neutral energy. It grants a bonus to solar melee ability damage, and you also gain super energy by performing finishes with a solar subclass equipped. This increase in solar melee damage is the main part of the build, and it gives a massive 50% increase to melee damage when you have the mod equipped. Now this is only for a fully charged solar melee though, so we are going to need to spec into builds which will assist with the melee cooldown. There's lots of great things you can do with a melee focused build at the moment, and adding Solar Plexus into the mix turns these all the way up. So before we get into specifics with each class, we're going to take a look at the rest of the mods that will fit into each of the builds, and these are going to stay the same for all of the classes. So first up, we're going to touch on two further seasonal artifact mods. And these are both chest armour specific mods, and so will easily fit onto exotic armour pieces too. Leaning into the solar aspect of the build, we have Inferno Whip. This is a returning mod in the artifact which costs 2 neutral energy, and it allows your fully charged solar melee ability to stagger unstoppable champions. This is a top tier mod, as it allows you to free up a weapon slot for either other champion mods or just so that you can use your favourite weapons. The second chest armour mod though also plays into that anti-champion aspect with Breach Resonator. Another top tier mod, and it only costs 1 neutral energy. This mod grants melee and grenade energy on final blows with a shield piercing weapon, or when a member of your fire team shuts down a barrier champion's ability. Now this perk will work with any auto rifle with the anti-barrier mod on for this season, as well as Eriana's Vow. Any final blow will give you a small bump to your melee and grenade ability recharge, which isn't anything significant, and it does work similar to how Demolitionist would recharge your abilities. But as you can take this into endgame content with such a cheap mod, it's definitely a no-brainer. For the next mod in this build, we're going to be wanting to get Charged with Light, and for this we're going to keep it basic with the Taking Charge mod. This will allow you to become Charged with Light by collecting Orbs of Light. You can experiment with other Charged with Light mods here if you wish, but we're just keeping it simple for this one. And the main reason for us to become Charged with Light is so we can use the Dawn Armour mod Heavy Handed. This is an arc affinity mod which costs 7 energy. Despite this mod coming in handy for infinite shotgun ammo builds, it also comes in clutch for melee builds too. As whilst you are Charged with Light, you regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability, consuming 1 stack of Charged with Light. This is a great mod if for instance you aren't using certain exotics to auto proc your melee regen, or simply get out of sync for whatever reason, as it will instantly half your cooldown for just using your charged melee. Its bonus perk will also come in handy for ammo regeneration too, for shotguns, fusions, sidearms and SMGs, and is definitely not a mod to be forgotten about. So the last mod in this setup will depend on which exotics you are using for your class, but it generally will leave you space for one armour piece to either put on an additional charge with light mod in the likes of protective light, or even supercharged to gain additional stacks of charge with light. I'll leave this spot open and up to your imagination. So now we're going to get into the exotics, and we're starting with the Titan and the ever old faithful and often broken Worm God Caress. This exotic is going to allow us to bump up our melee damage output to crazy levels when paired with Solar Plexus. Its intrinsic perk Burning Fists increases melee damage on melee kills for a short time. Additional kills extend the duration and effects. Now this perk counts for any melee kill, not just charged melees. It stacks up to 5 times and lasts for 4 seconds, so it's a very short window of time, but it adds a significant increase to melee damage. But that's not it. We are also going to be pairing this with the Code of the Devastator's Throwing Hammer, but more importantly the Roaring Flames perk. Roaring Flames increases the damage of your solar abilities on kills with solar abilities, which stacks up to 3 times. So the trick here is to stack all 3 of these bonuses for an increase in damage together. A 3-time stack of Roaring Flames and a 5-time stack of Burning Fists will proc by getting kills with the Throwing Hammer, which all the while will be getting the bonus damage from Solar Plexus, allowing you to one-shot the majority of enemies with your Throwing Hammer alone. But we're not done there, not at all. Now we are going to pair these with the Tractor Cannon's Repulsive Force debuff, which will make enemies vulnerable to incoming damage for a short time, as well as any 1-2 punch shotgun such as Python or the Perfect Paradox, which will increase melee damage for a short time when you hit every pellet on an enemy. So once you stack the melee damage increase, you can walk up to any high health yellow bar enemy, stick them with a quick boop from the Tractor Cannon, quickly switch to your 1-2 punch shotgun, tag them with that, and now hit them with that sweet Throwing Hammer and simply watch them disintegrate in front of your eyes. Now granted, the timing of this is very minute and precise, but if you can pull it off, it will turn you into a mini boss killing machine. However, even the different aspects of this build will allow you to simply use your Throwing Hammer as both a primary and special weapon, as the sheer increase in damage output is insane and it doesn't always need the total annihilation that the full wombo combo offers. But it is always good to know that this is the kind of power and you have it in your back pocket. Next up, we've got the ever faithful Warlock build, and like I said previously, we will be utilising the same mods from the start of the video. Obviously though, Warlocks can't use Worm God Caress, but they can use an equally as broken exotic, Winter's Guile. This OG exotic from Vanilla Destiny 1 offers insane melee damage output thanks to its intrinsic perk, Warlord's Sigil, which boosts melee damage on melee kills. This counts for any melee kill and not just charged melees. Fortunately, the setup for the Warlock side of this build isn't as complicated as the Titans, but it is just as effective and it also has a few options to use too. You can pair it with any of the melee abilities from any of the subclass trees, including the ranged melee Celestial Fire, which when paired with Solar Plexus offers a great aerial support build. But for this one, we are going to be using Igniting Touch from the Attunement of Flame to offer extra burn damage and explosions too, as we will be at close range to make the most out of the bonus damage offered by Tractor Cannon and 1-2 punch. Now all you need to do is to get a 5-time stack of Warlord's Sigil, which lasts for 5 seconds, then tag your enemy with Tractor and 1-2 punch to now simply see your enemy explode into a ball of flames. Now granted, this build for Warlocks doesn't allow for instant melee recharge, but thanks to heavy handed you'll have half back instantly and when paired with a good strength stat, you'll get a full melee back in no time. But in the meantime, just keep punching stuff with Winter's Guile anyway, there isn't much that will stop you. As for Hunters, we are going in a slightly different direction, but it is one that is just as effective nonetheless. Ophidius Spaith is the exotic we will be using, as it grants us an additional melee charge thanks to the intrinsic perk Scissor Fingers. We will be pairing this with the middle tree Way of 1,000 Cuts and the knife trick ranged melee. This melee is great because you can get a near instant recharge in this build, as a 3-time stack of playing with fire will buff the recharge rate, and thanks to Heavy Handed's instant return too, there isn't really any downtime at all. This build will give you near instant melee and dodge ability at all times when used correctly. Now the insane buff isn't quite as much as what we get with the Titan and Warlock variants, but having an instantly recharged ranged melee and the ability to knock out the majority of high tier enemies with Solar Plexus is not a build to be sniffed at. Plus, you can just quickly follow up with another 1-2 punch shot plus melee to really bump up the DPS of your melee in this Hunter build, which although isn't optimal, it is very effective. Hopefully these builds give you an idea of what's possible with melee themed builds this season. You should definitely take advantage of these types of builds when the strike modifiers line up with Brawler for even more fun. And don't forget that these mods in this build allow you to instantly put a stopper to unstoppable champions with the solar melees, and give you scope to deal with barrier and overload champions too. Go ahead and give a melee only build a go, you'll be surprised how effective they are. Many variations of these builds are key to even running solo attempts of endgame content, as they are just so potent and effective at dealing with all tiers of adds, as they offer insane DPS and survivability at close quarters. Please let me know in the comment section below if you've tried this mod out, and if there's any other variations you are enjoying using. I know that there are other options for melee builds, but these are just 3 I wanted to highlight for you today. Remember, if you are new around here and enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. It's a free and easy way to support the content I make, which includes a wide variety of builds to suit all tastes. Also, a rating down below is always greatly appreciated. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.